In the springtime, wild berries grow across the rainforest floor. These are a native species and are so sweet and tasty. When spring's heat comes, the raspberries fruit, and they are the perfect snack for these hot days. Spring here is dry, and it is the season with the least grass, so at this time of year we need to move the sheep and goats paddock often, herding them to the highest slopes of the farm in search for more grass. This year has been wet though, so the grass is actually growing pretty abundantly. But the goats know that it's spring, so they want that special grass right up the top of the hill. They have been so naughty lately, escaping paddocks daily so that they can find different food.
This is the paddock that we call Heaven, and it's kind of our reserve paddock for the springtime, and we just let all the grass grow up and then we let them in here when there's not much grass in the rest of the farm, and they go crazy for it. They love it. They ran off as fast as they came. Maggie's still here, but everyone else is gone, snacking.
I think the goats actually have these habits and this understanding of time and the seasons. Spring is here, so they want to be herded to the furthest paddocks.
From up here you can see all of the red cedar's leaves returning, and it's so beautiful. They're scattered across the valley.
On Sundays, we often let them into a special paddock out the back of our house. And now, when Sunday comes, they wait at that gate to be let through. If you're late to feeding them at night, Moth will bark so loudly across the ridge to let you know that she is not impressed.
Maggie, come on! Good girl! You're coming up! Come on!
They seem to be so in touch with the landscape, the seasons, our habits, and their own needs.
That is so good. Oh my god.
A wet spring is one to be celebrated because often all of the creeks will run dry, with only the smallest trickle, but this year there is enough water to splash and play. The water is cool because it runs from a spring up high in the mountains. Slow afternoons in the water are my favourite thing about the changing season.
So a few months ago I made this top, and honestly it's one of the most favourite things I've ever made. It's based off a dragonfly's wing, and I call it my fairy top, and it's got all these seams and it's made out of this beautiful crepe. And at the same time I made this skirt, but it was a real experiment, and it was kind of like a first twirl of something that I wanted to make. And I was surprisingly happy with how it turned out, so I didn't end up making anything else, but I think today I want to make a long version of this skirt for this top. And I want to make it really dramatic, and I want it to look like I'm a fairy who's been collecting wings from passing dragonflies and making a skirt from them.
For this skirt, I'm trying to find a balance between the diligent mathematical side of drafting patterns and the free but messy method of draping. I'm using a bit of both and hoping for a beautiful balance.
So now that I've made this little flared waistband, I'm going to just kind of drape different shapes and let them fall off it, and I want it to be really flowy and dramatic. So I'm just gonna have fun.
My inspiration for this skirt comes from the many beautiful wings in nature, with intricate detailing flowing through the landscape with so much beauty.
Okay, I've been staring at books of dragonflies' wings and different bugs, and I've been sketching lots, and I can't decide, but I think I finally decided I want to do it kind of like this one. So I think on the bottom layer I want it to be really even and these kind of like wing-like movements, and then I think a top layer, because the fabric's really transparent so I don't want it to be see-through, so I think on the top layer I'll have another kind of little set of wings that go over the top, so then it's like really floaty, and I want there to be movement when you walk and it to be really dramatic. So I think I'm going to start off with the bottom layer, because in all of my sketches it includes the bottom layer, so I can't go wrong doing that, and then I'll be able to see what it looks like, and then I can make the top layer from there.
Sometimes when I'm drafting patterns, I spend hours proving the shapes and angles and finding the perfect curves, and sometimes I just let my hand make a movement that feels right, imagining how the fabric will flow freely to this natural shape.
This is called a paper mock-up, and it's basically just getting paper and checking if that's how you like it, so you can kind of visually see it and decide what you want to change instead of wasting some fabric to do it. So instead you're just using paper. But the only problem with it is that paper does have a different fall, especially to the crepe that I'm using, so I kind of have to visualize a few things in my head and really look at it and think it's going to fall in a different way. It's going to fall way more flowy, as these sleeves do. But I think I'm really happy with it. The only thing I'm considering is adding more flare, but I don't want to use too much fabric because I always like to save fabric in my pieces and not overuse. So I think I'm really happy with it. I'll do 6 panels like this, so 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. And then maybe, I can't decide yet, I would do smaller panels on top with a different pattern, or maybe I wouldn't. Maybe I would do more panels down, like, I don't know, I'll decide. So now the only thing that I want to do before I start cutting out the fabric is check if it's the right length on me. See it on a human, I guess. So it's very fragile, but and I am wearing jeans. Oh, I think it is the perfect length. I want it to be like, I want to wear it with like boots. So I think that's cute to be quite full length, but then to kind of skip up at the ends.
I'm not used to working with a big roll of fabric, but this is one of my best secondhand finds ever. A massive roll of cotton cheesecloth.
I'm so happy with that. It's so fairy-like. Okay, I have all 6 fairy wings cut. Now I just need to pin it together and see how it looks.
While it is amazing to be able to create anything you can dream of with big cuts of fabric, there is something I kind of miss about working with scraps and small cuts of fabric. I think it's the way that these fabrics choose and inspire how you use them.
So currently this looks really ugly, but my plan is not to actually have detailing like this on it. This is just to sort of see where I want the top layer to sit. And so I think I want it to sit like this. And so then I'm going to use the original pattern piece, and I'm just going to chop smaller pieces that will then sit on top. So there's going to be layers and then it won't be transparent. So I've drawn various loops onto this pattern, and so these are going to be the kind of on top little flowy parts. So I've got 3 of them and I evenly spaced them so that it's going to look really nice to the eye. So I've got these 3 have 18 centimeters between them, and then I've got them so that they each meet each other on one side, and then the other side they go a little bit deeper, so it's like it's going to keep kind of falling down. It's looking really good, and I'm almost finished. I just need to hem all of these panels, and then I've already hemmed these top panels, so I think they're going to go on top like this, and then sort of add this second layer of flowiness to it, and then that way I won't have problems with transparency because 2 layers of this fabric is not see-through. So I think it's going to be really good. So I've just done the front panel, which looks a bit strange, but it will be like this, and then imagine the rest of the skirt in place, and I think I really like it. I couldn't decide whether to do these seams or not, which these are like reversed French seams, which is what I did on the top. And I don't know if I like it, but then I accidentally did it anyway, so I'm just gonna go with it. I feel like that's what sewing's about. But I think it's looking good. So right now I'm trying to join 4 different pieces of fabric in one seam, and it's French seam. So it's a bit complex, but luckily this fabric is so nice and fine, it just kind of all goes in together. I think that I'm all finished. It's all tangled up. There's so many layers. It's been quite a complex thing to sew, but now it's time to try it on and see if it works. I'm pretty excited. I can see a few problems already. It's puckering quite a lot. But this was just an experiment. This was my first try, so that's okay. If it didn't completely work, I'll see. So I hate it. I don't know if I'm being dramatic, but I did it wrong. I did it so that like there'd be all this volume going outwards, and I thought that this fabric would be able to handle it, but I didn't really think about how square it was going to be, so there's all these puckers going down, and I really don't like it. So I've pinned it, and I'm thinking about just taking it in at these sides so that it's like neater. I think that's better, but it might be a bit, I don't know. I think I fixed it. I'm so happy. It's looking way better than it was before. I just added these kind of darts that go through here, and then I just kind of made a seam that took away some of the unnecessary flare that was making things a bit weird. And now it looks like the fairy skirt of my dreams. I'm really happy with it. I think if I remake it, I'm going to re-pattern make this waistband so that these darts don't have to be here. But for now, I'm so happy. It matches the top perfectly. You spend so many hours with this vision in your head, and then at the end, if it doesn't look like what you thought it was going to look like, it can be really disappointing, but this is really good. I'm really happy. It was a fun project. It was really experimental. I thought it would be mostly just draping, but it turned out to be a lot of maths, which maybe my maths failed me a little bit with the flare, but I'm happy now.
Thank you for watching, and don't forget that you can purchase our book through the link in our description. Thank you so much to our patrons for your support on our journey.